7th, 2021. This is Legit Fantasy Basketball. Genius Kevin, the rest of the Legit crew. We're taking you through the second round of playoffs, talk about the series that are upcoming, talk about the games in play tonight, start off with a wrap-up of the first round, talk about the teams that have been knocked out. So a lot of ground to cover, and a lot has happened from Thursday to now. So to help us get through all that, it will bring in King Michael. How's it going, King?
Pretty good, Genius. How are you?
Very, very good.
It's really, really hot up here on third floor where I currently am operating off of. And I wanted to tell you, Kev, today I was extremely proud for being Italian. And the reason that is that Italians can see bullshitters from a mile away. We are the ultimate hustlers, so we know when the hustle is on. And as of late with things, it's like, saw it coming.
All right. Well, speaking of the ultimate hustlers, we got to bring in Brother Ray, and I hope you give us a little more detail on that. But Brother Ray, how you doing tonight? You scam anybody today?
Doing good, Genius. You got to understand, we always know a guy who knows a guy. So.
God's honest truth. You're Italian if you can get any situation done by making two calls. Yes. You call one guy, he calls the other. Bang.
Yep. And when I want to get something done, you know who I call? Coach TJ. Always. On a Monday night, I call Coach TJ. How's it going, Coach?
What's up, gentlemen?
Going on, Coach?
Let me tell you this. The Italians were the first ones to catch on to Fauci and his nonsense. All that coming. You can't fool me.
Yeah.
I'm not from the suburbs.
Yeah. I agree with that. I was all over him in the beginning. One of my friends was too. It was absolutely hilarious. Oh man.
Like,
yeah, especially because
I got an uncle that bullshit sounds just like Fauci when he's giving his recommendations.
The best thing is,
all have one uncle that bullshitted. You guys all have an uncle that was known as a bullshitter.
Yeah. The thing is, all we had to do. Like Fauci didn't even have to open his mouth. When you find there's a guy at that level with an Italian last name who's been there for 25 years, how could he not be a bullshitter? Like he's made it through so many different administrations. How that was my first question. How has this guy had this position or a position like it for so long?
Listen, all I'll say about this is, I'm not saying anything about what's going on with the virus. However, just being Italian, he's had to bullshit somebody along the way. You gotta. That's part of the whole that bounce of it being an Italian. Like come on.
They don't just prop the Italians up in the government. They don't prop the Italians up. We bullshit our way to the top.
Exactly. All right. So I'm trying to think about this. We couldn't do this about make these kind of comments about any other ethnicity. Like we're actually in the clear. Usually we have to shut each other down when we go too far. We could probably do a whole show on Italian bullshitters and how they could,
I do. That's the thing. I keep saying that though is a fact about Italians. You could be like, "Hey, Mike, what's up, you guinea wop?" And I'd be like, "Ha ha 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 ha! That's great." Like they don't care. None of us care. None of us have ever cared. It's never stuck with the Italians. Like no names are ever stuck with us. There's so many names they got for us. They just never stuck. We're always like, "Yeah, all right, well, we don't care. We just don't care." So we're free game for everybody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and good. Whatever. I don't care.
Oh man! All right, gentlemen. So let's moving on to the multiple topics at hand tonight. So last time we spoke, it was Thursday night. I believe the Nuggets had tipped off against the Blazers. I actually watched that whole game. That was a phenomenal game. Jokic had a monster game as usual. Blazers played well. They ultimately fell on Thursday night. They subsequently fired Coach Stotts, is out in Portland. So I guess your thoughts on how that series ended. We'll talk about Dallas going forward against I can't even think of who they're playing against, Phoenix. But for now, just kind of wrap up. Give me your wrap up thoughts on the series and the Blazers and kind of where they go from here. We'll start with Brother Ray.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're Portland, you have to be disappointed. I mean, this was a series, they expected to win, and these are the series that they need to win. So, I mean, we talked about Portland at the end of the year too, Coach. About they just were not performing. I mean, they made some trades, they made some really good moves, and then they completely, shit themselves. There's no other way to explain it. And it carried on into the playoffs. You have one of the best backcourts in the game. You have a decent big man, and they just couldn't get out of their own way.
King, you want to make a comment on the Blazers?
Oh, definitely. Dame, if you're listening at all, please come to LA and replace LeBron. Team up with AD and form the greatest team ever. I would be so back in the game if LeBron left than Dame saw, and I had Dame. Forget about it. Can't think of a better duo than those two. So
All right.
I'm kind of glad they lost early, Kev. They're out. He rests up. He decides he doesn't like these guys. There's turmoil. Goes to LA.
All right, we'll see. That would take a lot of maneuvering on the by the Lakers with cap wise, and also I think it'd be the first team ever to boot LeBron. That would be. I think we'd all love it, but
I think LeBron might leave.
yeah. All right, Coach, your thoughts on the end of that series, and what's next for Portland?
Well, firing the coach is the logical thing that they have to do. But what the hell is the coach supposed to do? I mean, what's he really supposed to do? The team was schizophrenic all year. They've had that backcourt now. This must be McCollum's sixth year. They've had this loaded backcourt for a long time, and they just seem to be the 5 seed like forever. And I definitely thought that series was going 7. We got off the air last week. I was surprised that they ended up losing the game. But you blame the coach, fine, all right, you fired the coach. What's going to happen now is one of those two guys is going to walk because they're running in the mud. They're just running in the mud, and that's not the conference where you can afford to run in the mud because there's not like you're going to get lucky and win 3 rounds. So I think their ceiling was to get bounced in the second round. Losing the first round, it's disappointing. Heads are going to roll. The thing about Portland is if they take it apart, I don't know how soon they're going to be able to put it back together. Like, I don't feel like it's not Miami where if you take it apart, okay, which is one crop of free, or the Clippers even just went and grabbed Kawhi and Paul George. I think if Portland busts apart, Portland's going to have to start from scratch because that team's primarily built for the draft. So there it is on Portland.
Now, one thing I heard that I thought was kind of interesting, and you didn't say it directly, but like you said, what's the coach supposed to do? Now, they don't play defense, right? And there's been horrible defense all season. Like Nurkic back, it was like halfway decent. But one of the angles I heard that I thought was kind of interesting is Dame doesn't play defense and McCollum doesn't play defense. And if your 2 best guys don't play defense, how are you going to set the tone for the rest of the team to play defense? It would be like with Kobe, obviously, he went all out on defense. So if you're slacking on defense, he's going to be all over you. Who's going to be all over you in Portland if you don't play defense?
Well, in Brooklyn, Durant and Kyrie don't play defense either, and that seems to be working out just fine.
Well, they don't have to. That's the thing. They're scoring 100. They get scored 140 every night.
It's true, and no one's going to fool Magic Johnson for being Gary Payton either. So your best guy doesn't necessarily have to be your best defensive player, but the guys that aren't your best guy have to be defensive players. Like, even if that's just their job, is just to be defenders and win that way. But when you just have the reputation of just being a soft team that's coming down to Dame dropping 40 or not, it's a tough path.
Remember the dude with the Hawk haircut that played for a while? What was his name?
That crazy white guy who was in Miami for a little while.
With the Mohawk.
Yeah.
Remember him?
Chris Anderson.
All right. Remember him at his peak when he was like a beast of a. They need a guy like him. Like they literally do. That's the guy they need. They need a guy to come in. Like, it's okay that they're not going to play defense. Because in the NBA, you kind of know when the guy plays defense or not. The guys don't.
You kind of assume Covington's going to be that guy, but he's not that guy. And then you go grab Melo, who's like, I think I was in high school with Melo. He's like got to be. He's old. He's not going to be out there being a lockdown defender at this point. So the pieces they put around those two guys are not the pieces I would have selected. So yeah, the coach is going to get fired because someone's going to get fired. But to me, the general manager has a lot of egg on his face because he wasted this terrific backcourt, and he wasted him for a long time.
Yeah. You guys see Melo defending Jokic?
No.
A lot of time. That was awesome. It was phenomenal to watch. I mean, he gave it a shot. He fouled him almost every time, but it was just like, how the hell did that switch happen? But anyway, all right. So that's kind of a wrap up for that series. So we'll move to the much more interesting one on Thursday night. And I actually listened to this one when I was driving down to New York. I didn't even get to watch it, but I was listening to the Lakers side of the broadcast. Where Phoenix knocked off the Lakers on Thursday night, knocked them out of the playoffs. The most amazing thing about that broadcast was Michael Thompson, who's supposed to be the color guy, can't do math. They'd read out the scores, and Michael Thompson would go, so they're down by 23, and the broadcaster would go, it's actually at 29, Michael. Like it didn't happen once. It happened at least 3 or 4 times, and I was kind of like, this guy, he actually can't do addition and subtraction, and he's got an NBA broadcast job. Anyway, so we're gonna go to you first, King. But hold on, all I want to say is my observation there. Obviously, I don't know who cleared AD to play. That was absolutely embarrassing. They should have never had him on the court. That was like a travesty of the medical staff or him or whoever was allowed. If he was allowed to make the decision, it's awful organizationally. If the medical staff cleared him, that's awful too. And LeBron, like I brought up to you guys before that game, I was worried that he didn't have it. Like he couldn't bring it to the basket consistently, and it kind of showed that he couldn't. So, King, we'll start with you since you are a resident Laker watcher.
All right, so I said rest AD. It was the first thing I said. The first words out of my mouth about the game last week, right? As a Laker fan, that's what I would do, right? Rest AD because you need him long term, and he wasn't going to be much help. Then let LeBron break down like he was going to break down. Like let him have his moment where, dude, he wants out of LA, and don't tell me he doesn't because he wants to go to a place maybe where the media market isn't so big for a little while. I'm willing to bet you, I don't know how much money, but he's going to make his movie and he's going to go someplace else. He's not going to be here long. So I was disgusted with the way he played and just the way the guys they had around them. It was just like, it was awful. It was kind of awful, to be honest. And Michael Thompson, for the record, Clay's dad, played center for the Lakers. And he was freaking worst. He was the softest center that ever lived, the worst little mustache that ever been, kind of balding, but not. It was just like, dude, he was a horrible center. If you're a Laker fan, you remember him. He couldn't beat out Vlade. He could not beat Vlade out of a job. Like, get out of here with Michael Thompson. Just because your son can hit threes doesn't mean you can't even do math, as the genius just said. So there you go.
All right, so we'll move clockwise through the circle here. Brother Ray, what do you think of that game? What do you think is next for LA?
I mean, as far as LA, let me just say, I think LeBron is going to stay where he is. You got to understand, he could have went anywhere he wanted before, and the reason why he picked LA was because he wants to make movies, guys. He's not a basketball player anymore. He's not a content. He's a content producer. So he's either going to retire or he's going to stay there and putz around. So unfortunately, Laker fans, he's holding you guys hostage right now, and you need Ronald Reagan to get on the phone and try and get him out of town. That's the only thing I can say. As far as the game, Devin Booker, you have to tip your hat to Devin Booker. 8 out of 8 from 10 from three-point range, 80% field goal percentage from three-point land, 47 points. He proved himself. We talked about this team being young. Will they be able to do it in the playoffs? Will the youngsters perform? Guys, he showed up. He showed up in a big way. So, yeah, they shouldn't have trotted out Davis out there, but, what else can you do? Give Phoenix a lot of credit. They're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out the rest of the way.
Yeah, we'll talk with them their next series a little later. But, Coach, your thoughts on that first series, how it wrapped up, and what do you see happening in LA?
Well, I don't think LeBron's going anywhere. If he does, the only thing I could think of him doing is maybe ending his career back in Cleveland. But he's not young enough to go somewhere else and then start to build a program again. I mean, there's a lot of tread on those tires. He's definitely not going to retire because in the next 2 or 3 years, he's going to start doing things that are like he's going to pass Kareem eventually in all-time points. Like he's gonna be top 3 all-time in assists. Like this, and he's so selfish. That son of a gun is not going to walk away when there's some kind of like legendary record like hanging out there. So no, whatever they did to Kyle Kuzma to make him turn from a like up-and-coming prospect to a bum, shame on them. Because Kyle Kuzma looks like he doesn't even belong in the NBA. And here's the kid who I was thinking would be like the second, third best player. He was like a borderline all-star. And then suddenly now he looks like just any other schmo. Yeah, it's not pretty over there, but yeah, LeBron's there. AD's injury is AD's injury. You guys were right, though. LeBron didn't have anything left by the end of the season. And, of course, the excuse makers come out and they want to talk about the short amount of time between the end of last year's bubble and this year and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if that's it. Maybe he's just going to have to go and be that next phase of his career. And the next phase of his career, he's going to be taking fallaways, and he's going to be taking fallaways and using his court vision. I think the years of being attack the rim might be over. He's not going to shrink, but he's sure the hell not going to get any quicker either.
Kev,
go ahead.
Kev, the reason that he's going to leave is going to be from social media pressure. That's what I'm trying to say. He is so dumb, and he's still embroiled in a dumb move. The fact that you don't think his handlers are thinking we should probably get Dumbo to another state so that he's out of the limelight for a little while, and we'll make his career like go save another franchise. It'll people start to love him again. That's what I'm thinking. It's somewhat that bad, and I'm not even joking about like how LA and how people are feeling about him in LA right now. It's just a fact. Like almost like you can feel it. There's an uneasiness.
So to take this around back to how we started the show, you think LeBron is going to go on the lam to avoid?
Yeah.
Where's he going to go? He's got LeBron. He's going to be Oklahoma City. We're going to start a franchise in Juneau.
That's really good.
Don't you wish that upon us?
Go to Philly.
Don't put Philly out. You find
back.
You got a whole map. Listen, pick another franchise, buddy. We're good with we got our own problems. We'll get to
the only place he's going is in the rafters. That 23 is going to go in the rafters.
Oh, God.
They got to get rid of him. They got to get rid of him.
All right.
You can say it.
And then we'll probably hit off season. We're gonna have to hit all this stuff, but the Lakers are in trouble, cash wise. Like they have like 10, possibly 11 free agents, and LeBron and James are already like supermax, whatever the hell they are. So it's gonna be interesting off season. All right, so now the last series that we was still in progress when we last spoke was Clippers and Mavs. Clippers won Friday night and Sunday night to eliminate Dallas. And for me, the big story of the series was Boban Marjanovic. That guy, every bet I made on him cashed, over points, over rebounds in every game he played. It was very nice. I wish they were still going. He was obviously the best player on the court. At one point during the Sunday game, he had 3 assists in 4 minutes. If you extrapolate that out and you actually use him properly, he could have had like a 45, 50 assist night. But no, of course, they got to keep running the offense through Luka. They don't learn. And in all seriousness, though, what I did notice with Luka, obviously he's amazing. One of the top 2 or 3 players in the NBA, but in the second half, his game falls apart, and it's a usage problem. Like they overuse him. He had 29 points in the first half of one of those games, and I'm like, he's not going to score 58. So what's going to happen to Dallas in the second half? And it was almost like the Clippers could feel it too. They were never stressed out. They just kept grinding, and they were within 3 or within 5 at the half, and they kind of knew he would fall off. That's kind of how I started viewing those games a little bit. But we're going a different order. This time we'll start with Coach TJ. What are your thoughts on those final 2 games, and what do you see next for Dallas?
Well, I hope Dallas doesn't make a knee-jerk reaction and do some kind of panic thing I started seeing some headlines today that were concerning where it's like, they got to bring guys in around Luka. Like, chill out. Luka's 53. Like, you can build around Luka without doing something like totally off the charts and try and bring in one of these ridiculous or overpay for Paul George type. Or they don't need to do all that. Like, the future's bright. As long as you keep Luka happy, you're going to be good. Porzingis, you guys mentioned it last Thursday. Porzingis is a shell of what he was or is supposed to be. And Boban, as cute as it was to see him out there, we had 14 and 10. You can't. He's not a piece of the future there. He's just not going to be able to play that long. They need more talent. They definitely do. But I hope that they don't try and do something like way out of the box and bring in some overpriced guy or maybe try and give Luka a second fiddle because he's so talented. He can carry them to a number of finals. It's just going to be a matter of putting the pieces around them. Almost like in Philadelphia where they finally – I don't know if this is a finals team, but they figured out what kind of players we got to put around our guys. It took a while to get your Seth Currys and your Tobias Harris and your Thibaults off the bench. Dallas has to do that, and they have plenty of time. So disappointing loss because they led the series. Like they were leading the whole series for the whole damn time. And it sucks that we don't get to watch them play anymore, and we got to watch the damn Clippers. But, my big thing for them in the offseason is not to do anything ridiculous.
No, all right. King, you want to go next?
Yeah, please. All right, so I'm going to extrapolate these words. I'm completely the opposite of Coach TJ. if I'm Mark Cuban, and I'm known for being like Mark Cuban, having Luka like having an 11 at blackjack, I'm doubling down. Like if I can get two guys to come in, one guy's like a really good point guard that can shoot and assist, and you get a banger in there around Luka now, I double down. I know it. Look, you don't want to spend a bunch of money, but if I can get two guys that I know could make a core with Luka to be like a banging team, I would get it done. He's like to me one of the best young talents, maybe top 5 of the young guys that you should build around. So if you can right now, do it. Like just knock it down. You know what I mean? That's what I would hope.
I agree with you, but here's what they don't need to do. They don't need to go to the free agent list on free agent day and just stop randomly selecting the top 3 highest paid guys.
I agree with you.
I feel like that's what teams do in this situation, and they're going to end up with, if they go get a Montrezl Harrell, it would be a perfect fit. But if they're out there and they're like, okay, Kawhi's not happy, this guy's not happy, and this guy's not happy, and then you got a team that's not a team. I think that's where these organizations screw it up. But yeah, go grab the best players. They need 2 stars to go with them, especially in this league. You definitely need 2. But the 2 don't have to happen by July 31st. The 2 can happen in 2024, and everybody's going to be fine. So that's where I was trying to take it.
Brother Ray, what do you think of all that? And any other thoughts you want to add about the Mavericks and how that series ended?
Yeah, I mean, the Mavericks, if Porzingis is supposed to be one of your max players, and he was clearly outplayed by Boban in that last game. Clearly, Kev. Clearly outplayed by him. I mean, you have to rethink your team building here because he's obviously not the guy. And we've been talking about this, throughout the beginning of the playoffs. They need to look now in team build. Like, obviously, you do need to surround him. You do not want to completely trash everything. It's team building, and coach is right. You need the pieces together. It doesn't mean go out and spend all the money and get all the highest paid players. How do these players fit with probably the most exciting young player in the NBA? So I think both coach and King are right in that. You have this stud. You need to surround him with talent. You can't completely blow the thing up. I would send Porzingis out, on a banana peel. Get rid of him. Just get rid of him, okay? He is a stiff. You don't want to play in Philly? Good. Thank you, Jesus. That's all I have to say. I'm sorry.
I gotta say, you two have a way of just revolving everything around Philly. It's only like it's like King with the Giants in football. It's like everything. It's like the North Star. But here's one thing that was just concerning watching them. Like that offense just doesn't flow. And are they like something needs to be fixed because you look at a lot of times it's just everyone standing around watching Luka. It's almost like the old James Harden thing, but Luka does more and he's a different player than Harden, but the style is they just stand around and watch. Like if you end of the half, end of the quarter, it's a joke. And anytime Luka feels it, he doesn't even look to pass. So I'm kind of curious, I think he has to grow out of that. I think maybe they don't have the weapons. Did Porzingis get alienated because of the style? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered, I think, with the way he plays.
Kev, let me just interject. He needs guys that are going to play like he plays, at the speed that he plays. He needs to be confident in them. He needs to have confidence that they're a better shot than him because he can shoot anywhere, right? So you got to get 2 guys in there that are alpha males that's the only way it'll work. Porzingis was not an alpha male. That's what's called a beta male.
Yeah. Yeah, he would just literally his role in the offense was stand in the corner, and if either wait for the pass or if someone drove, he'd come in from the side and maybe get an alley-oop or a layup or something. It was a very frustrating offense.
He should have been a figure skater. He should have been a figure skater. He would have been a better figure skater.
All right, I don't think we can top that. Okay, so that kind of wraps up all the first round series. Talking about the teams that are out. So moving over to the second round, a couple of series tipped off since we last spoke. And this one's actually underway, so we'll talk about this. We'll talk about this series in the first game in the game that's underway now. Milwaukee at Brooklyn on Saturday. Harden got hurt in the first minute. Brooklyn still got a big lead. Ended up winning 115-107. Probably wasn't that close. Milwaukee just looked very much out of sorts. Last time I looked, right now they're up by about 20. So right now it's 52-31 with 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. So Brooklyn is obviously, it looks like they're handling them pretty well. So, Coach, we'll start with you on this series. I guess what have you seen so far? What are you looking for? How do does Milwaukee have a shot to adjust here?
No, they have no shot to adjust. There's too much talent on Brooklyn. Now, game one, Blake Griffin's going to come out and imagine beating all the teams that he let down. But right now, he comes out. He's gonna come out and go gangbusters, banging threes and getting layups and whatnot. There's so much talent on Brooklyn. This is my worst fear of what happened earlier in the year when the team came together. It's can they just turn it on and just steamroll people? And it looks like they can just turn it on and steamroll people. And to even not even have Harden. Here's what's happening, though, and it's going to bother me at some point. It hasn't bothered me yet. Kevin Durant is going to be grossly underrated historically because they're doing this shit without Harden. Durant is absolutely unguardable. And it's always like, well, he just jumped ship. He just jumped ship, and that's all you're going to get out of it. I don't think Milwaukee, we talk about Holiday and Middleton. They sound like they're on par with some of these other guys. They're not. I mean, this just matchup by matchup, every step on the floor, the advantage is going to Brooklyn. And tonight it's just like, yeah, get out of my gym. And you don't expect that in a semifinal matchup. I can't see a team I can't see a way where Milwaukee can win 3 times against this Brooklyn team, let alone 4. So, yeah, that's where it is for me after 2 games.
All right, Brother Ray, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the wheels are completely falling off the Milwaukee bus. I mean, when Blake Griffin puts up 18, Joe Harris puts up 19, and Harden's not even on the floor, and they dominate the way they did, that's a tough thing to come back from. Tonight, I mean, if you look at the box score, Middleton hasn't scored a point yet. He hasn't scored a point. I mean, it's tough. I mean, without Harden, if they're doing this without Harden, and we know what Harden can do when he's on the floor, I mean, he is on the floor the ultimate team player, the way he complements an offense. So, I mean, if they lose tonight, if they lose the first 2 games at home, I mean, that's tough.
Yeah, they could be in trouble. I didn't even mention it. I did bet Milwaukee, unfortunately, -1.5. I bet the under, so under 237.5. I bet Holiday plus 19.5. Joe Harris plus 13.5. Holiday plus 7.5 assists. Middleton plus 6.5 rebounds. So hopefully the props will still come through, but the side looks to be off. King, your thoughts so far on what you've seen in the series and how you think this thing plays out?
Kev, I got to put on sunglasses now because my brilliance that's been shining through and continues is now become unbearable. My exact words were the Nets were going to just smack this team. Go back and listen. I just said they're going to go through. They're just going to go through. They're going to go through them. They're just a better team. It's a not fair team. Like I've seen teams get ready to play each other, and sometimes you're like, you didn't choose these evenly. Teams were not chosen. I'm sorry, Kevin. Let me extrapolate that one. Teams were not chosen. You know what I'm saying? Fairly. Not at all. The talent is all in Brooklyn. Kev, that's what I said, and they're smashing them in game 2. Did I call sweet? Because I think I did, if you go back and listen. I'm shining so much. God damn it.
I honestly, I didn't hear a word you said. I can't buy those sunglasses. Are those cycling glasses, or did you find them in your car from high school? Like what are those? Where are they from?
These are those sunglasses that you find in your house.
Yeah.
You ever have that happen to you? You open a drawer and you're like, hey, look at these like really bad sunglasses.
Yeah.
So I said to my son, look at these really bad sunglasses. He goes, throw them out. I go, nope, I'm going to add them to the show. Here I am, Kev. I'm sorry, but I had to do it. I've been right about these things dead on. So I'm sorry,
All right. Any of you two have any other comments? I honestly didn't catch a word of what he said. I couldn't process it. It looks like a B, the yellow in the glasses. Anyway, TJ, any final thoughts on that series? You want to move on?
Yeah, so one of the themes that kept coming up in the other night's game, and obviously we're here now, so I'm not watching. I can just see the box score. Is announcers talking about how much Milwaukee likes to run. Stop. I don't care what you like to do. Stop. What Milwaukee has to do is turn this into a crawl, because the second anybody even breaks into a light jog, the Nets go on a 6-0 run. So as much as they might like to run, at some point you got to be like, we got to slow this. We could just slow this whole show down, and that's if they're going to win a game or two in Milwaukee. But this series, not pretty.
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to comment on is something you said, TJ, about Durant. He is going to get underrated, and it's going to be because of the choices he made.
Yeah.
He brought it on himself, and then it's going to. This is, you can already see we're going to be having this argument. What? How many? Maybe 10 to 15 years from now, everyone. How good is Kevin Durant overall? Because he never played on a bad team and all that stuff. He's setting us up for a decade or more of debates on his eventual status because of his choices. He could solve it if he went back to Oklahoma City and won them a championship. Anyway, moving on to the next one. And you guys, painfully, we're going to have to talk about Atlanta Philly. The game on Sunday, second game, I believe it's tomorrow night or Wednesday night. Atlanta comes into Philly, and I didn't watch this game. I was at my daughter's high school graduation, so I actually didn't watch it. And I think, TJ, you missed it because you were at an open house, and Brother Ray wishes he missed it. But how did this happen? I know the final score is 4 points, but Atlanta was up big at points during that game, and then Philly put together some crazy rally. So, Brother Ray, we got to start with you since you are a Philly fan and you watched the game.
Yeah, guys, Atlanta came out about as hot as a team could possibly come out. I mean, Bogdanovich was hitting threes like Steph Curry. I mean, like Trae Young I think he had 14 points in the quarter, almost like 15. The Sixers had like 10 turnovers. Atlanta scored 40 points in the first. They scored 40 points. They could not miss a basket. Philly kept turning the ball over. They were all disjointed. It was great to see Embiid out there. Guys, when the second half got underway, the Sixers got their ground. They started to get better, and they almost won the game. So the way I look at it, I am not worried at all. In fact, I will say it right now. Atlanta doesn't win another game. Philly is going to take 4 straight. I'm sorry. Bogdanovich is not going to come out there and shoot like he did. Shut in the crowd. Stop it. Stop it. Sit down, you hack. It's not going to happen in game 2. I guarantee it.
All right. King, we'll let you go next, and we'll close it with another Sixers fan here. Wow. That was good, Brother Ray.
Kev, I see it kind of the opposite way.
Uh-oh.
Embiid looked old. He looked really old. He looked like what was that guy that got drafted that just got hurt immediately for the Blazers?
Odin.
Oh, Odin.
He looks Odin old right now. He doesn't look good. He looked like he was out of breath at times playing the Suns.
39 points.
I mean, I'm not playing the Suns, playing the
Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks. My point was, because it's similar to me the way they play.
Did you have the glasses on?
They can't stop Trae Young. They can't. Look, he's a mismatch, and it's going to be messy for Philly. This is not going to be a good series for them. This is like that Styles makes fights, Kev. I'm telling you, this is not a good team for Philly to play. If Trae Young gets that whole space stuff going, then they can't. They won't be able to keep up with them. So I'm just being honest. Philly should beat them, but this is not a good matchup for Philly. It's just not a good matchup. It really isn't, and I'm worried about it. I would be worried. I would definitely be worried if I was a Sixers fan about this.
Yeah, when I saw the box score, and I saw the score, I saw the outcome, I saw throughout the game, knew they were down big, and then I looked at the box score and I was like, wait a minute, Embiid had 39 points. I'm like, there's no way he played this game. That's my initial thoughts. So I was worried. But Coach, let's wrap up Atlanta Philly with your thoughts here.
All right, 3 things. First of all, Doc Rivers earning his money in the last 24 hours. Because veteran coaches know in the NBA, if you want calls, you bitch about the refs. So he already come out and said that Simmons is being penalized and Thibault's being penalized for their physicality on Trae Young. I guarantee you the referees are going to let Trae Young take a beating in game 2. That's 1. 2, I was as shocked. No, I had to watch the game. I didn't watch it live. So I knew the score when I turned on the game because I had to watch the game. Like I wasn't going to let it go. I watched it almost like I already knew what happened. You ever watch a game when you already knew what happened and you just wanted to do it? It's not the same interest, right? If the Atlanta wants to come out and take 49 threes every game, be my effing guest. Because they had guys coming off the bench to shoot 2 for 3. You got Bogdanovich going nuts. Train's terrific. Absolutely. They want to come take 53s, that's fine. That's not going to happen again. And then 3, it's a 3-point game with a minute left. Like, Philly should have won this. All that aside, in the first half, Philly should have won the game. They needed one stop, and they didn't get it. But to me, I'm with Brother Ray. I'm not in panic mode at all. As far as Embiid looking old, I mean, that's just how he runs, man. He at 39. He's a problem. Like, Nick Capella cannot guard him. He's just not going to be able to guard him.
So,
first, second half, Lou Williams did nothing. First half, Lou Williams comes in, boom, boom, 2 threes. And it's like, who's going to miss? And I don't think they can play that well again. I really don't.
Kev, this is a biased fan perspective, right? You lose a game, so you say to yourself, well, we came back at the end, so we figured it out, and we're going to carry it over to game 2. The point, that's missing the point. It could happen again, and if it does happen again, you're going to have to figure out a way to stop it. Just because it changed doesn't mean you stop what they were doing in that first half, and that could happen again in another game because of the matchup. That's why they're terrifying to me.
And you're wrong. Here's what I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. First of all, they got to do it 4 times. 2 times not going to cut it, right? They're going to do it 4 times. Secondly, the second half, what Trae Young was getting off on, coming off the doubles in the first half, was not happening in the second half. So I don't know if that was a coaching adjustment or a player adjustment on the floor. But when he comes off the 2 on the top, so when he makes that shot clock cut, when he makes this little weird cut where he's coming over 2 defenders like that, you can't see it. When he makes that cut, they were making the adjustment. So they got that figured out. Atlanta's offense is not that complicated, and Clint Capella
But so does Atlanta, Coach. You know that. So they're going to fix it. Coach,
they don't have the players, so it doesn't matter.
Coach,
and then the third thing, Danny Green, can we not do that anymore? Can we just let Thibault start him on Trae Young? I don't want to hear, well, Green did a good job on Young. Under what freaking planet? The guy plays 30 minutes, he scores 4 points, and Trae Young lights him up every time they're on each other. So, to me, I think Doc got the answer for this. I really do.
Kev, I'm sorry to keep on with this, but my point is, so Trae Young comes out hot, right? And then he kind of gets shut down as the game goes. You're trying to tell me Trae Young's not going to go to the locker room and be like, man, we got to switch up that because I was getting jammed that whole second half. Like, when you're getting crushed. So you don't think he's going to make some adjustments come the next game? It's always it's like it's going to be the same. My point is, Bailey should have never let that happen. That scares me, man, that can happen. Just because that can happen once, I'm like, oh, God. I don't trust them. I can't trust them now. I'm not saying they lose. I don't trust them.
They dropped a game to the Bullets, too, and it wasn't the end of the world. You know, you can drop a game and win a series, and it happens all the time. I don't think you're going to stop Trae Young no matter what you do. I don't think you're keeping him to 11 points on 2 for 17 shooting. But what you can do is make it so that they're not throwing a block party in the first half, scoring 40 points in the first quarter. I don't think we'll ever see – Atlanta will not score 40 points in a quarter again for the rest of the series. Find that prop bet.
And so I'm going to go on a limb and say that Trae Young's people gave a call to the King. After the King roasted him about his hair, I'm going to venture and guess that some of Trae Young's people called King and they talked him down. Maybe they boiled a cat or something like that, or they threatened the dogs. I don't know. I think something happened.
So you think that the cars in the neighborhood with Georgia plates wasn't a coincidence, right?
Flea, something happened. I think something happened.
Right. Let me tell you how much this is. You're a homer. You're just a fan. I would like to fight him in a cage fight. That, you know what I mean? That's how I feel about Trae Young and his hair. Just
you and Trae Young in a cage?
I would rag on his hair to his face. We probably would fist fight. It might be a good one. What I'm saying is, they're a mismatch with the goddamn Sixers in this series. You keep adding all these layers. I'm staying down the middle. The point is that they let this happen. You know they did. Because it happened. So it could happen again. Kevin, am I right or wrong on that? Give me the math.
I'm gonna say I'm confident Philly takes the series. I don't know. I could actually kind of see Atlanta not even winning another game. I mean, I think I'm not going to argue with you. They are going to try to adjust, and they could get hot again. But I think look at the sum of things and the average.
I'll tell you what you're doing right now. You did it last round of the playoffs. This is exactly what you said. You can just replace Trae Young for Ja Morant. This is exactly what you said after one game of the Utah-Memphis series when, coach in the bottom left corner over here said Utah's not going to lose another game. But in that top right corner, it was like, I don't think they got the answer. Look what he just did. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll know by Thursday.
We'll see. All right, straight. You're gonna go straight 4. We'll see. We'll see the
Straight
four.
Sixers. Go, Kev. That's what it is now. It's can the Sixers have to go 4 straight.
Yeah, that's these guys say. The other thing that made me laugh about this whole thing, Coach TJ and Brother Ray have been nervous about the Sixers every single show we've ever done. It could have been mid-season, could have been toward down the stretch. Every single time. Tonight they drop the first game of a playoff series, and they're more confident than they've ever been. I don't understand what's going on.
Ray, that is a little schizophrenic of us, though, isn't it? That kind of does not make sense if you think about it. Like,
I'm not saying they're going to win the championship. I'm saying they're going to win this series, though.
I know, but at the All-Star break, both of us were like, "Yeah, man, I don't know if they're a playoff team."
Yeah.
They're up.
Yeah.
They were up 11 games. Yeah, I don't know if they're any good. Ben Simmons is terrible.
Yeah.
You can't help it, Kev. You can't help it. You can't help it when it's your team. You can't.
All right, gentlemen. So moving along here, we'll hit Denver at Phoenix first, since they're playing tonight, and I got a line for that game and over/under stuff. But the series is going to be awesome. I've talked about Jokic like almost every show. I can't get enough of watching that guy play. Like if you've not watched basketball in several years, and he's the first guy you see, it's absolutely unbelievable. He's phenomenal, and I love his post game interviews because he talks like an Eastern European guy. So he doesn't do 20 minutes like LeBron James, and I remember seeing this and I saw that. It's just very basic, and he will though sometimes remember a play and talk about it very specifically, but it's mostly like yes, no, just like through the whole thing. So he's probably my favorite player in the league right now. I love the Phoenix guards against Denver's guards. I want to see what DeAndre Ayton can do to slow down Jokic. That's going to be really, really interesting. Personally, I think Phoenix wins the series. I bet Phoenix in 6. I think is what I bet Phoenix in 6. And I bet Phoenix overall and just Phoenix in 6. But I would not mind losing that money. I would love to see Jokic carry them to another round. We'll start with King this time since we usually don't go to him first. King, what are your thoughts on Denver and Phoenix?
All right, so I'm very excited.
Sorry, one thing. The game tonight is Phoenix -5 at Denver 221.5. Like, talk about the series first.
Listen, I'm very excited about this game. This is the kind of game that I'm going to go sit down at 10 o'clock and watch because this is going to be like a good game. It's one of those games where my son came home and as he's passing by, he said, "You're going to watch the Denver game tonight?" I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch the Denver game. Like, that's a game that you've got to sit down and watch.
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch it. As far as who wins the series and who wins tonight, I mean, I kind of expect like a fist fight, like a 7-game fist fight. But I haven't gotten that yet, so maybe I've been wrong about how long they're going to go. I would pick Phoenix to win. I would take Phoenix tonight. I think that's just how it's going to go. It's going to be an ultimate great series. Phoenix will win that one. I agree with you. It's a good bet to make. Phoenix in 5.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, Brother Ray, what do you think? Denver and Phoenix. Again, game tonight. Phoenix -5 at Denver, 221.5.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, too, because I've been picking against Denver. I mean, we kept waiting for Portland to wake up and just put them away, and it didn't happen. And I think Phoenix really, when you beat the champ and you beat LeBron, I mean, that's a big load off your back. So are they overlooking Denver? Are they really now relieved, and is there going to be a letdown? That could possibly happen. But I think whenever you take the king out like that, it's gonna help you. It's a notch on your belt, and I think Booker is playing with a lot of confidence right now, and I love the way that backcourt stacks up against Denver. I mean, Jokic is a beast, but I think in a 7-game series, you can find ways to you're not going to stop him completely, but you can neutralize him from taking over a game and getting the W. So I think that's what you're going to see. Ayton can definitely handle him down low, but I mean, Jokic can go anywhere. I mean, he can travel all over the place. He takes the ball down. He pretty much can do anything he wants. But I like Phoenix. I think you got to stay with Booker. He's playing as well as anyone right now, and they have that veteran presence in Paul. And you know what? If you're not rooting for Paul, you don't know anything about the NBA.
All right, TJ, how do you see it shaping up?
Well, I think the key to the series is Michael Porter. because here's a kid that really, really has come into his own. A lot of people don't remember. He was the top player in his high school class. So coming out of high school, and the class was good. Trey Young was in that class. Marvin Bagley was in that class. You have to fact check me, but I think Aiden was in that class as well. So that was like a loaded class, and Michael Porter was the guy. I don't know why I can't keep a box score without the damn ESPN yelling at me. But no, Porter was the guy, and he was banged up. He was hurt, and now he looks like he's got the makings of an NBA pro. Like he is it. That said, I think Brother Ray is right. You know, I don't have any skin in the game, but my heart's with Chris Paul. I want to see Chris Paul get a ring. When I look at the teams that are left, if it's not going to be Philly, I hope it's Phoenix. Tonight, 5's a big number for a series that I think most people expect will go 7. You know, I don't know what's to see there. I mean, to me, I'd probably take the points if I was putting money on it. I would take the 5, but we should be in for a battle. What we have 1-7 series so far, and it was the Clippers and Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's going to happen in the first round, I feel like this will be where we get that 7-game.
I would love it. I would love it.
I would love it too. I just like the Denver guards. I mean, if Murray wasn't hurt, it would be such a different series. And Michael Porter Jr., like he's only been able to turn it on in spurts. Like he had, I don't know, 24 points in the first half of the last game, I think. He didn't have any in the second half. It's a weird. He's like it's just like it doesn't seem like he can get into the flow of the offense. And I don't think it's like Luka Doncic Dallas offense where it's almost impossible for anyone to get in the flow. Like if you look at Jokic, he averaged 34 points in the first round. Everyone's all over Doncic because he averaged 35, but Jokic's 34 were almost, I don't want to say quiet, but because he would take over at moments, but he was distributing the ball. The rest of the team was involved, and it was never this. Everyone stands around and watches Jokic, whereas which is why it's odd to me that Porter doesn't get involved.
He's guards are more fun, right? Because the highlights are way better for guards, right? Because they have dribble moves and they have outside shots and they get step backs, right? And then he's a big that doesn't really dunk, so he doesn't really make highlight plays. He just makes basketball plays and hits turnaround shots. He's an unbelievable player. He's just not as sexy. And you see Doncic and it's like pumping fists, and then you see this guy. He's just taking turnarounders off the backboard like it's his job. How pissed do you think Stephen A. Smith is that the 2 best players in the NBA are white right now? Do you think?
I know.
Do you think that bothers him like a lot, a little? There's that.
I was curious. I was thinking of how to bring that up, so I'm glad I don't have to worry about that anymore. Thank you, Coach. As usual, thank you for the insight. Okay, yeah, but I think we all agree this is going to be probably the most fun series to watch, and I'm definitely going to be watching tonight. So I want to make sure we actually got a lot of time, so we'll definitely wrap up on time tonight. But I will.
Yeah, we have no reason to jump off to catch the second half of the Nets game, do we? So might as well stay with it. What do you got, Mike?
Absolutely brutal. So tonight, by the way, just for your entertainment, I'm probably not going to bet. I like Phoenix, but 5 is a lot, so I might just bet that money line or wait to see what happens in game. Like if Denver goes up 10-2 and it goes to Phoenix -2, I'll bet it that way. I like Devin Booker over 4.5 rebounds. I like Ayton less than 14.5 points. He's going to be his primary focus is going to be on containing Jokic. Then some other weird ones like just most of the Suns supporting cast. Bridges plus 11.5, Crowder plus 11.5, Booker plus 29.5. So I have a lot of props on this one going in, mostly on the Suns side, and then Morris plus 12.5 points. So we got a lot of action on this one. Hopefully it'll be decently scored, and all those Phoenix bets will cash. All right, yeah.
Kev, can I just bring something up? Aren't you guys excited about the young guys? And
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. Aren't you guys excited about the NBA basketball players and how they're playing right now, the younger ones? Right?
Well,
Because I said young guys. That was just not the right lead-in for that. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is all the young players in the NBA.
Well, the coolest thing about it is we hate the way basketball is trending, right? But all these young guys that are amazing talents don't play that way. Like, that's the craziest thing about it. You look at all the guys we mentioned: Trey Young, Morant, Doncic, Jokic. all the ones that we love and that are really up and coming strong don't play that way. It's kind of crazy. It's like all the ones around them do that. So that's probably why what's going to save it to make it watchable.
They're all playing hard, though, Kev. All the young guys are playing hard, and they're playing well. Like, that's what's impressive right now about the NBA. If you look, because my team's out, right? Like, I'm just watching playoffs as playoffs, and it's awesome. But there's some like really great young players. So it's like, good. This is the next like crop of stars. Like, I'm really like, whatever. Like, I don't like his hair at all. Again, I don't care. My point is, these guys, him, Luka, we can name like 4 or 5. They were like, it's great to watch them play. So it's like, LeBron, please just retire. Take Melo, please. Grab Melo. Just leave, please.
Brother Ray, he's trying to get the street cred back. It's already gone. It's gone. The Trey's Atlanta crew paid a little visit to the 3rd floor.
Genius. Those people got to him. He must have a good team, that Trae Young. I got to tell you.
Yeah. All right, Coach. What are your thoughts on the younger guys? Then we'll move to the last series.
No, I like it. The under 25, under 26 crop is good. It is, and it's funny. We keep hearing how this draft sucks. This draft sucks. Well, these are the guys, and I like them. So all these draft prognosticators that have been telling me, because not every draft is going to be the 84 draft, right? But all these prognosticators that keep telling me these drafts sucks. Then when I see the players play, I'm like, well, I like these guys. So yeah, yep. I'm ready to be to a new era. The only thing is, I don't know if the NBA is ready to be into a new era, or if they have to continue marketing freaking LeBron and his peers. Are they ready for the guard to change and for it to be new faces? Because old habits die hard, and LeBron makes him a lot of money.
He says dumb things. He types dumb things.
He's not an intelligent guy.
Around him, the yes man.
He's dumb as
a... Yeah. All right, brother. Any final comments on this crop of players, or are you ready to move on?
No, I mean, I talked about Trae Young before. I mean, obviously he's a tremendous player. Can shoot like. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, he does remind me a little of Steph in just that ability where he can be unguardable at times. And it's funny because when Steph came out in the draft, people said the same thing about Trae. He's too fragile. He's not big enough. He's not going to be able to take the beating. He can't play defense. And guess what? They got it wrong again because he's a superstar. And they did the same thing with Steph. I mean, he's the future of the NBA. It's guys like that, him and Luka. They're the future of the NBA. Anyone else that's not going to acknowledge that, just get out of the way.
Yeah. And the bow at the end of the series in Madison Square Garden was amazing. So if even the NBA is not ready, the guard is changing. That was like phenomenal. Even the Knicks fans were going crazy, but it was done perfectly, so well. All right, gentlemen. So last series, we're at about the 53-minute mark. So we got let's try to get through this in about 4 or 5 minutes or so we can get ready for the last game tonight. So we got the Clippers at Utah. And I honestly don't know how to totally preview this game because I look at Utah almost like a machine, like stormtroopers. Like everyone they just come at you and it doesn't stop, and they play well together, and baskets fall and they play decent defense and on and on. And the Clippers looked so flawed against Dallas, and yet somehow they pull it off. And Kawhi, Mike, we're going to start with you because I know you're a big Kawhi fan. Those final 2 games, those final 2 games are unbelievable to watch from a Kawhi perspective. Now, does he have that for a whole other series? I don't think so. But I don't know if I would bet it yet. I haven't bet anything on the series. I just don't know how to handle it. So, King, we'll start with you. What do you think of the Clippers' chances? What do you think of the Jazz?
Genius, you literally just said why the Jazz are going to win the series. You just said exactly why. They're consistent in what they do as a team and the way they score, whereas the Clippers are up and down, and that's not going to come true with this team. They're like money. You know what I mean? The Clippers are not going to be able to handle this team. Styles make fights, right? This is another one I think is a bad matchup. Yeah. Really, I really think it's going to be a whacking.
Yeah. All right, Brother Ray, what do you think? You think Clippers have a shot, or are you sort of on the Jazz side also?
No, I think King is right. I mean, they have been extremely fickle in the playoffs. They were fickle at the end of the year. I mean, you could not bet on a Clippers game. Like they could be playing Orlando, and they would lose by 20. Like you could not figure the Clippers out at the end of the year. It's the same thing in the playoffs. And Kawhi has been either really bad or those last two games he was fantastic, and he looked like the Kawhi that won Toronto a championship. So, what Kawhi are we going to get? I mean, I will say Marcus Morris has really raised his game, and I mean, I didn't expect that. I mean, he was outstanding in that clinching game, but I have to go with Utah here because we've been on Utah's bus, we've been off the bus, we've forgotten about them. They were down for a little bit, with injuries, but they're back and they're playing Utah basketball. So I don't see how I could go against that or bet against that with a team like the Clippers that are completely fickle. And get rid of those uniforms, man. Just get
awful.
rid of those uniforms. Come on.
Awful.
Come on.
Yeah. I got to say, probably my favorite looking player right now left is Reggie Jackson. The perfect name, those glasses, the hair, the bandana, headband, whatever it is, it comes together wonderfully. Coach, fashion aside, how do you view this series?
It says so much about Utah that when we were finishing up on the last series and you said we got one more series to talk about, my brain started, the hamster in my brain was like, what team haven't we talked about? Because I'm still forgetting Utah, who's the number one team in the number one conference. And in my head, I'm like, there's no other freaking, we hit on everybody. No, you forget Utah. And that's crazy. It doesn't make sense. Market aside, because when Utah was still in Utah, when they had Malone and Stockton, and you still knew who Utah was. Like, you just forget this team. They're flying so far under the radar. They almost never lose at home. So I expect them to win at home. The Clippers, like you said, they're up and down. They're up and down. I will say this. When Kawhi puts someone on a poster, like, it's impressive. Like, when he goes straight up and gets lean and puts it down on somebody, it's fun to watch. He might be my favorite in-game dunker right now. But, I think Utah wins the series. I do, and I hope we get that Utah-Phoenix series. I think that's what the teams deserve. It's what Adam Silver deserves. I think we just, we don't deserve to have a big market in there, do we, there, Mr. Silver? Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to more than anything, is to see Utah and to continue to get to understand this program, because it's super impressive. And they say that the key is to slow down the three-point shooting. How do you slow down three-point shooters like that? Like, the secret to beating Shaq is to keep him out of the block. Yeah, okay, all right, cool. Yeah, do that. So I like Utah in 6.
You know what's funny, Kev, is that if you go back to probably the beginning of us doing basketball podcasts, we've always been like, Utah is the best team overall. We've always agreed to that, but then we've all forgotten it. It's like a girlfriend that you just forget about. Like, how, you know what I mean? We've been mean to Utah. Utah deserves an apology from us at this show.
We'll say Utah's the best team, but let's go talk about this team over there. It's like,
the problem is they're just not interesting enough. They're too. It's almost like robotic, and they need a little drama. They need something because and by the way, at the end if they get beat, they're going to say, "See, I told you Utah wasn't serious. I told you we should have taken them seriously." So, but I think I'm going to bet them right now to win the West, because if they get through Clippers, I don't see Phoenix stopping them. I don't see Denver stopping them either. So I might just kind of make the longer term bet for them to win the West.
Man, dude, be scared of Phoenix. I'm being serious. Like, I like Phoenix. Like, I'm scared of Phoenix. That's a good team. Like, that's
I think they're a good team.
Stuff. They could be the fly in the ointment.
Yeah, I don't disagree that I think they're a really strong team. I don't know. You guys I'm all hyped up on Utah now. Now I'm going to start doubting. I'm not going to make the bet.
I'm doing it again. I'm forgetting about it. Sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I meant Utah. I'm sorry, baby.
Yeah, exactly. All right, John.
Mike Conley's not even playing. He's questionable. So we still don't know about Mike Conley. In order to find that information, I had to click on Mike Conley's name. You know how much money Mike Conley makes? $35 million to be Mike Conley. What a world!
I remember when he signed his deal in Memphis. It was like the war. It was kind of lauded as a worst deal signed of that year. So yeah,
I mean,
insane.
look at point guard and all, but 35 mil. Damn.
Yep.
Brunson do that same.
He's
job,
not
like,
worth 35 mil, just to say.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't dislike the guy.
He's not
Definitely
even
not worth that much money.
freaking months. He hasn't played and they haven't lost in 2 months. Go figure.
Go see Jimmy Butler.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, gentlemen. We actually just hit the hour mark. Let's wrap it up. We'll go clockwise to end things. King, any final thoughts on the NBA? Anything we should look for before we talk again on Thursday?
No, it's just actually a really good playoffs. Like, I'm enjoying it. There's a lot of really good stars and teams. So this is gonna be good. I'm ready for the ride.
Brother Ray?
Yeah, I mean, I some really good matchups, some really good first games, and thrilling ends to some of the series. I'm really interested to see if Milwaukee can put up any type of fight against Brooklyn. It doesn't look like they will, because if Brooklyn sweeps that series and they get rest and Harden's back, man, it's going to be tough for everybody else.
Yeah, I just checked. Brooklyn's down 25 with 6.5 left in the third. So yeah, I think we're in trouble there. All right, Coach TJ, anything you want to leave us with? Final thoughts?
Yeah, my final thought is that we're at this point right now where there's still 8 teams left and there's no Lakers and there's no Heat. And I think it's bad for anybody who watches any of our earlier shows when somebody like me maybe predicted Lakers Heat. But it's good for the NBA that we got some new teams and new organizations in there. And now the country can see a lot of the young talent that we talked about in tonight's show. So should be a good few days. Looking forward to Thursday.
Cool, awesome. Me too. Yeah, so we'll wrap it here. Everyone get out, go watch that game tonight. Look at Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. We got a lot of good talent on display tonight. A couple more series will move forward before we reconvene on Thursday and kind of go through it all. Go through it all again. All right, so wrapping up legit fantasy basketball for this Monday night. It's Genius Kev, King Mike L, Brother Ray, and Coach TJ.